Hey there, good evening. Happy Friday. Let me ask you, do you believe that you can cultivate innovation? How we create new and better ways for our organization to be successful is very important. And, I think this year has definitely taught us all that we can actually be more innovative when we are pushed to think differently. All right. I mean, we think about so many of the innovations that have happened this year about virtual school and work and telehealth for taking care of patients. There's a lot of innovation that has bursted forward so much this year out of necessity. So I think it's shown us that we can be more innovative and want to think about how we can do that and nurture that separately. Well, today during our Pharmovation Friday Connector Dots, we're going to explore this subject of the what and the how of cultivating innovation, as this is actually one of the priority competencies that I teach as part of the Pharmovation course, because, of course, it is critical to support innovation. So I am your host, Kimber Boothe. I'm a strategic pharmacy coach and consultant, and I help pharmacists strategically advocate for roles and resources to advance healthcare and have joyful, engaging careers. These are connector dots. These are little live sessions that I do just to share some brief, candid insights on healthcare, pharmacy, and life, or what I like to call connectors and pharmovators. So today we're going to do some show and tell. Make sure I get this in the camera. This book by Korn Ferry, and it's been supported through many years of updates. This is for your improvement, or FYI, and I just love their tools and resources for doing both your self-assessment as part of your professional development plan, also in creating your action plan. So I may do a whole separate session on the use of this and how you can utilize it. Hopefully, maybe you've had access to this in your own organization, because many organizations do use this as part of the competency assessments. So what's really cool about this is, again, of course, I prioritize this topic of innovation. I do think it's important for us to think innovatively. Not always, I think sometimes I have a tendency to have too many light bulbs going off. We want to always be finding new ways, but sometimes we do have to focus on what we're doing. We have to practice the excellence, not perfection motto that I like to say. But what's really cool about this book, the way it works, is once you've identified your competencies, again, we're just going to focus on the cultivates innovation. When you go to this section, there's a lot of information in the book. And I of course, don't want to spend a ton of time on these live sessions to keep these quick and to the point for you. But basically, with the cultivate innovation or any of these competencies, for example, that has some background information on it. And then some of this stuff that I'm going to go over today is, how do you know if you're even skilled at cultivating innovation? Or how do you know if you're less skilled and maybe you're overusing the skill? And there's some possible causes of why you might have this lower skill. And then the cool part, and we'll just go over a few of these tips today, is when it comes to creating your plan of action, as to tips for developing this cultivates innovation competency, there's tips to do that. And so that's really helpful, that you can go to this and have some tips, built in to help you with your professional development action plan. So when it comes to knowing whether you're skilled at cultivates innovation, this comes up with you're somebody who tends to come up with useful ideas that are new, better, or unique. So just coming up with ideas is actually, innovation. And you may have heard me talk about this before, like innovation does not have to be about that groundbreaking major transformation or totally new product that rocks a whole industry. We can be innovative with smaller ideas as well. If you are somebody who introduces new ways of even looking at a problem, let's take a different approach. Let's look at it from this other angle. That is definitely innovative. And again, I feel like we've had to do a lot of that this year. Take yourself, get out of that box that we're typically in. You tend to have creative ideas that you will then put into practice. You also, of course, would encourage diverse thinking amongst a group of people to promote and nurture innovation. So it's important for you to be innovative yourself, but of course, supporting a culture of innovation is critical. And if you are somebody who, again, is cultivating innovation by supporting it amongst the people you are with, that is helpful, and you are definitely more skilled in that case. If you're less skilled, so how do you know if this is an area for development for you? It's when you are staying within your comfort zone rather than experimenting and trying new ways of thinking and looking at things. Maybe you are present ideas that are just, they're considered ordinary, conventional, or even from the past. Meaning, we've been there, done that, and it didn't work. Well, let's not do that. When it comes to this cultivate amongst other people, if you are less skilled at this talent, you are probably somebody who is more critical of others' original ideas. And you tend to have a style that discourages that creativity in other people. So that's how you know if you're less skilled at this. Now, again, we won't go into all the details of how to do this, but in an ideal world, you would identify doing these competencies, and then you would get feedback. This is where you can get 360 feedback from other people, and they would help you to assess, am I good at this or not? You can also ask, people specific questions, ask your manager, ask your team, ask your family, how do you think I'm innovative? Share some of these points that I've just mentioned to you. So the truly talented person that kind of goes above and beyond when it comes to innovation is you definitely move beyond traditional ways of doing things, and you tend to push way past the status quo. You're continually assessing the market potential for innovative ideas and solutions. And this is definitely part of an important step of ongoing planning, is that kind of situational analysis, kind of scanning that is happening. And again, I am good at that. But there are some times where, when you overuse this skill, it could become a challenge. So that is a risk that I have. And again, sometimes it's good to put those ideas out there, but then you want to plan, when does it make sense to actually implement some of those new ideas? And definitely you're talented if you're building excitement in others to explore these type of innovative and creative solutions. So some of the other tips, like I said, is, there's a whole nother section that you can use around knowing if it's an overused skill, and this is where, again, where I have this light bulb challenge, and I know this about myself, doesn't always prevent it, which is you come up with too many ideas that it can actually overwhelm other people. So this is where I know I have to have like a parking lot, or I definitely, like in my planner, I have a someday section, which are things that are those ideas that come to my mind, and I put them down. I relook at that when I'm doing my planning, but at least I'm not kind of overwhelming people with, hey, look at my latest, greatest idea. Let's work on that, when you're trying to execute on what your current priorities are. If you also could be overused if you spend too much time looking for innovative ideas. Sometimes this is where excellence, not perfection, or, good enough is okay. So you don't have to have the perfect, most innovative solution. Keep moving forward, iterating to solve a problem. In the IT world, that tends to be called the Scrum methodology to solving and getting products out there faster. So those are some of the ways, again, where you would kind of know, is this something you are skilled at, less skilled, talented, or maybe if you might even be overusing that skill. So now that you know that about yourself, I think this is, again, a topic that even if you are skilled in this area, this is something that you want to continue to develop. I think this is definitely a future competency that is going to be critical going forward. There's some competencies through time that, are less important, but this is definitely one that'll help you in a wide range of areas. So again, the book is great, and if you contact me, and this is definitely part of the Pharmovation program, that you get access to some of these competencies to help you develop, and we also use this in my connector coaching program as well. So some of the tips, just a few of them, again, to keep us moving here, to keep this shorter. One tip is think about what role you can play. And the point here is that innovation takes a village, and you yourself don't have to be the one that comes up with the innovative idea. That's great if you do, but that's where that cultivating of innovation amongst a group of people who have differing opinions, different backgrounds, different ways of looking at things can be helpful. So you don't have to be the actual, person, but you could be the champion, you could be the idea generator. There's different examples of how you can do that. If you should desire to enhance group creativity, and the recommendation here is to diversify your groups, right? You want to make sure that you're enhancing creativity by looking at bringing different groups of people together who have different perspectives. And this is why diversity itself is so critical, whether it is race, gender, and other backgrounds. Training and different levels are important. The third tip that I wanted to share is don't perceive yourself to be, if you don't perceive yourself to be creative, you want to remove the restraints. So creativity is definitely important when it comes to innovation, but sometimes that scares people. And you have to just kind of think deeper about, why it is that you are feeling that way, and let go, like let loose, and then use, tools, just get those ideas out. And then if your organization lacks a climate or a culture that's conducive to innovation, the way you can solve that is you can take the lead. So you're learning here about cultivating innovation. So you can take the lead to bring it about in your organization. Many leaders want people to step up, and if you can bring this to the forefront, bring some ideas forward and some ways of supporting innovation when you identify an issue, this is where, when it comes up, it's always good to get that input from all of our employees when it comes to things that we want to improve. But you definitely want to be the person that comes with a solution and ideas, those innovative ideas that can solve and address that problem that is at hand. So that's what I wanted to cover for you today in our Pharmovation Friday connector dots on the ability for you to cultivate innovation. So please join me for these connector dots in the future, and you can access the full library, since I know it's not easy to catch all of these live. I do them about 3 times a week. You can go to kimberbooth.com/dots. So I leave you with: be bold, be a connector, advance healthcare and pharmacy practice. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.